Welcome to the show, Golf Sickos. Happy Monday. We've got an absolutely massive show. Just a massive show today. There's no Masters hangover here. No Masters hangover here. I'm joined by Sidekick. I feel like I'm giving you a new name every time.
Do it up.
Actually, I might have done Sidekick before. I said co-host last week, and then after I said it, I was like, whoa, that was big.
Partner in crime.
Partner in crime. That's Ben Boscovich, Scratch Editor-in-Chief. So, Harry Diamond, what he said to Rory McIlroy after Rory made a bit of a mess coming home on 18 of the Masters, he said, before the playoff, they were on the cart back to the tee, and he said, if I would have offered you this at the beginning of the week, you'd have taken it. If I'd have told myself that I was going to have 3 winners on Dan on Golf in episode, is this 11? Episode 11, I think?
11,
maybe 12, something like that. I would have taken it. Amazing week after the Masters. I thought we were going to get Neal Shipley, Joel Dahmen, and Justin Thomas as our winners this week. Neal wrapped it up for us on Saturday. It was a Wednesday through Saturday tournament on the Korn Ferry Tour. Joel had some issues. We're going to get to that. But JT, it almost got away from JT also. Andrew Novak had a putt on 18 to win the RBC Heritage, which would have been a pretty amazing story. Yeah. Cinderella story. Guys from Raleigh, North Carolina. Lives in St. Simons Island, which I believe is very, very close to Hilton Head.
Playing great golf this year, too.
Playing great golf this year. Signature event, too. This was, no hokey stuff here.
Sorry.
All the big boys minus Rory. Rory went back to Belfast to celebrate, which got me thinking, where would you go if you won the... I'm not even going to say won Masters. If you completed a lifelong dream, which for you is, I don't know, styling... Jim Nance or something. If you styled Jim Nance for 1 week, where would you go?
I'm going back to Pittsburgh to celebrate.
So it's a family thing?
Yeah.
Yeah, so my first inclination is Vegas, but it sounds really stressful.
If you're like brothers and sisters and your parents want to go to Vegas, yeah.
No, but I'm just like, go to Vegas to celebrate, but it just sounds, especially if I've done something of note, I feel like I'm like not going to want to.
It's a little on the nose. Maybe you go to Pinehurst number 11.
What'd you say?
Go to Pinehurst number 11.
Pinehurst number 11. 11 golf courses at a golf resort. I love this country.
What a country.
I love capitalism. It's 11 golf courses. It's just a stunning amount. But anyways, I think I'm going to the beach, by the way, to answer your question.
Okay.
I think I'm going to like a resort at the beach because I can have some drinks and just pass out and not worry about like ruining my life in Vegas.
Play a little resort golf.
Play a little bit of resort golf. I think I'm going to the beach. Okay. Let's show Andrew Novak's putt on 18. I thought this was going to win it. I thought this was going to ruin our JT Joel double. Yeah, so here he is. Amazing scene, by the way. Didn't really have to worry about that putt going in right after he hit it. I wasn't nervous about that going in. Not his best effort. And then once JT came out with that little snarl on his face.
I love how he emerged.
It felt like JT was going to win. We had the watch along going yesterday. We had it on this channel, which was awesome. Yeah. Love this community that we're building here. Dan on Golf, welcome to the show. Dan on Golf, DOG. We were pro JT. We were outwardly pro JT on the stream because Rick Gaiman on this show picked Justin Thomas to win 18-1. And yeah, we were emotionally invested. Sue us.
For multiple reasons.
What was the other reason?
Because JT drought.
Yeah, there was a drought. It was almost 3 years long.
Yeah.
The Americans were off to a little bit of a slow start this year. Europeans were eating.
Oh, yeah.
Here was JT to win on the first playoff hole, and here was our reaction on the watch along. JT for the win, 21 feet. He settles over it. It's going to break to his right. He hit his line. Is that going to do it? Justin Thomas has won the tournament! JT! You give me a little shove. 21 feet. His first win in almost 3 years. A winner for Rick Gaiman. If you followed us on Dan on Golf, we had JT plus 1,800, 18-1 to win. Justin Thomas with Joe Griner on the bag. How about the worm cam from CBS? Oh, what a moment. What a play. Justin Thomas, we wanted the JT Joel double. We got halfway there, living on a prayer. The worm cam was fantastic.
A lot of good worms yesterday.
I love the worm cam. CBS cooking. CBS is off to a really good start. Again, I know we're not big on positive broadcast takes here on the golf internet, but CBS is cooking recently.
That was a good call by you, I'll say.
Yeah.
By us.
Yeah. We're getting better. I didn't say made contact like last time.
You got a lot of shit for that.
I get a lot of shit for a lot of things.
I didn't understand that, but
we're gonna go through all the shit that I get. Fantastic stuff. Great week. Right after the Masters. And we have Justin Thomas on this show. How lucky are we,
ladies and gentlemen,
to be joined by JT? He won RBC. I got that.
Was that in real time?
No, that was on the way over. In the car, I was thinking about it. Yeah, I caught up with Justin Thomas. Pretty awesome. Here's my interview with the newest winner on the PGA Tour, Justin Thomas. All right, I want to read a stat. I don't know if they've hit you with the stat, but before today there were only 6 guys who had won 16 times on the PGA Tour, including multiple majors before age 32. It was Arnold, Jack, Johnny Miller, Tom Watson, Tiger, and Rory. Now you have joined that group. What goes through your head when you're included in a group like that?
It's great, obviously. I'm fortunate to add to be added to some of those lists in the past, and I definitely have not the last couple of years because from not winning. But it's great. I mean, it's a lot of hard work, a lot of time and effort over the years. But it's very special today.
I know every win feels different. This one, it's been a little while. Was it more relief or was it pure joy? What was going through your head after the final putt dropped?
Pure joy. It was a lot of happiness. I think relief doesn't seem fair to say. I think there definitely is some relief in there, but like I was kind of saying to these guys, is I feel like it had been so long that I had, at least in my head, I stopped getting asked questions of when's it going to happen. Like I joked, everyone moved on. Like there's other things to talk about. That's really not that big of a story or deal. And so that could have helped with the relief, but it also was just, I had a lot of faith and fully believed that it was just a matter of time if I kept putting myself there and kept doing what I was doing.
Putting yourself in contention, that's sort of the ultimate test of the caddy-player relationship. Obviously with Joe on the bag this week, how did it go? How was he in crunch time?
Yeah, he was great. I mean, I think that was the most important thing of deciding or trying to decide last week. Was obviously we didn't know what was going to happen this week, but within reason I wanted to, if I were to play well last week, be comfortable or somewhat comfortable with who I was with, and I know Joe so well. Like we obviously, I mean, every day we would figure out some things here and there, and like we joked, we feel like we were finally just getting close enough and ready to go to be like, all right, man, thanks for the help, appreciate it, now see ya, and hopefully Rev will be back and good to go. But he was great, man. He's such a good dude. He works hard, but we had a lot of fun out there.
My last question for you: how are you going to celebrate this one, and how might it be different from before you had a little one?
Yeah, Jill's back at the host house with I think my dad and Molly kind of getting stuff together. I'll probably meet him at the airport here in a little bit, and I think Jill's got a workout class tomorrow morning, so I'll be on wake up duty with Molly, and there's nothing that could stop me from feeling great right now, and I'll probably have a couple beers on the flight home and enjoy it, but then get back to work when the time's right.
Well, Quail Hollow's coming up soon. You've got some amazing history there. So good job, man. It was fun to watch.
Thanks, Dan. Appreciate it, dude.
You were telling me you have some thoughts on the lack of a post-Masters hangover.
Yeah, actually, that sparked two thoughts. Great interview,
Thank
by
you.
the way.
Appreciate it. I like your way to be joined by JT. He won RBC.
You got to sing it.
No, I like it better when it's spoken.
Everyone's talking about like the Masters hangover, right, when they get into the RBC. And I'm sick of that phrase being said in the golf media. I'm sick of everybody talking about it. Unless you're a top player who's like tired of traveling, or a traveling newspaper journalist who has to go sit in those media centers every week, I don't want to hear about the Masters.
Yeah, it was so hard. You had to not watch golf for 3 days and then watch golf again.
If this tournament wasn't as grand as it was, the complaints are like, why do we have these like low stakes tournaments where nobody plays? Like, they should all be signature events. Like, we should be so lucky as fans that every week we get a tournament like that. And I'll also say it's interesting the past 2 weeks, it's the story of two different droughts and two men like handling it very differently. Rory, the relief question you asked JT is like, he also had a drought. So you think he's going to like release all that, finally I win,
Well, it
almost
wasn't
3
nearly
years.
the same amount of attention on him.
Exactly. Rory's been like chopping with an axe at that Grand Slam, like at the Masters for a year. JT for the past year and a half has just been sawing at that tree, right? So he like almost expected that tree to fall at the end.
I like
so
that
I like
metaphor.
where he's at the end. He's like, I was excited. It was pure joy because he knew it was going to happen. Rory was like watching it almost slip away from him again.
Well, it's also one of those things where you get 20 chances a year versus 4.
Yeah.
So there's a lot more pressure.
A major versus that.
That's what I'm saying.
Of course.
But yeah, I like that metaphor. The axe versus the saw.
Yeah.
Like a chainsaw. Yeah, it's good. Now, the stars are aligning for Quail Hollow. That's like I mentioned that to JT. You've got Rory, who's won there 4 times. Yeah. He's now got that monkey off his back. He's got the 5th major in the bag, career Grand Slam winner. He's going to be playing free. You've got Scotty Scheffler. He's got 3 top 10s in a row, including a T8 at RBC. We were talking about this in the watch along yesterday. He got the 2 back before going for an absolute miracle shot on 15. He tried to hit that driving iron from the waist area on the right side over the trees.
I love your analysis of his mentality there. Yeah. That was a great call yesterday. Like, he's not trying to like not win at that point.
Okay, honesty button. Ready? Honesty button. Here it comes. Honesty button. I don't think Scotty Scheffler gives a shit about a top 10 on the PGA Tour, right? Like, at this point, he's won.
It's casual for him.
It's very, very casual for him. He's third in the FedEx Cup. I looked at it this morning. I said, oh, my God, it's been a slow start for Scotty. He's third in the FedEx Cup.
Still the betting favorite, too, tied with Rory for Quail Hollow.
And I would guess that JT is a solid number 3.
Yeah.
Because JT is really rounding into form. Remember, he almost won the Valspar, so could easily have been 2 wins in his last 3 starts.
One of those saws.
The saws. Really, really good stuff there. All right, we're going to jump into a segment we call the Knock Around, presented by Knock Around. I got the Mary Janes. It's 421. It was 420 yesterday. I was looking at the Knock Around website before this. They've got a whole line of 420 glasses.
Is it?
That is just that's just a California company for you. And we got a promo code for you. If you go to knockaround.com, you use the promo code DanOnGolf20, you get 20% off your first order. These are $35 to begin with. I'm going to tell you another story. Can I do another honesty button thing?
Hit it.
I'm going to hit the honesty button again. Personal fuck you to the rental car situation at Phoenix Sky Harbor Airport. Okay, so here's what happened. I landed in Phoenix. I was doing the shoot with Jake Knapp on Thursday. And I said, you know what? I'm not going to get a rental car because I'm only there for the day. And I decided, okay, I'm going to get a rental car. I decided this on the plane. Rented a car. No problem. I wanted to watch the Man United game. We won. We lost yesterday, but we won the more important game on Thursday. No one cares. Okay. I get in the car, and it takes legitimately 45 minutes, not to get the car, but to just get out of the rental car center. Like, there was a huge line.
Oh, yeah.
I get to the front, and the person scans my door, and they say, this car's due for maintenance. I said, what do you mean this car's due for maintenance? They said, I can't let you leave this lot. It's unsafe. You have to get another one. So I had to turn around and then go get another car. And in that process, I left my knockarounds that I had brought in the first rental car, which apparently, probably still getting maintenance. And so what did I do? I went on the Knockaround website. They got a store locator. I went to Dick's Sporting Goods, and I picked up these awesome ones. And it saved the day.
The store locator works.
I honestly, that was sort of a long-winded way of just complaining about the rental car situation. I'm becoming one of these old journalists who complains about the rental car situation all the time.
You gave somebody a new pair of knockarounds, essentially.
Yeah, that's right. Congratulations to the attendant. Maybe they weren't. Or it wasn't actually due for maintenance, and they just saw the knockarounds.
They were like, are those the Paso Robles?
Those are the Paso Robles. These are the Mary Janes. All right. There was a lot of talk about this early in the week. So Wesley Bryan was suspended from the PGA Tour for competing in the Live Duels event on Grant Horvat's YouTube channel, Monday Q on the story here. And we're going to talk about this, but first I want to show in the same week we then heard, I don't know what was first, but that Grant Horvat is getting an invite to a PGA Tour event. He said on this show, I asked him, because that's clearly the next frontier after he won the Creator Classic. Here's what he had to say on Smiley's show.
I recently got an invite into the Barracuda.
Come on.
Yeah, it's really cool, but I don't know where I'm at right now on it. I truly believe in my game, and I think I'm not going to shoot some crazy high score. But I'll tell you one thing. When you play with the pros, you just realize how much better they are. They're so good at golf. Yeah, I'll hit a lot of high-quality golf shots, as Wesley would say, but it's truly a whole nother level.
He's going to play.
Yeah.
Otherwise, he wouldn't say that he got the invite. My prediction. Also, when he said he's not going to post a really high score, that's true because Barracuda is Stableford. So it's all points. It's a point system. But as far as the Wesley situation, because people were telling you, what's your comment on this? It's really not that complicated of a situation. So Wesley is a PGA Tour player. I think he finished like 128th in the FedEx Cup last year. 125 are considered like fully exempt members. They get into every non-signature event. They're like full-time PGA Tour players. Grant Horvat is not. Grant Horvat has never played in a PGA Tour event. PGA Tour players are subject to a different set of rules than non-PGA Tour players. They have to get releases for an event, even if it's on the DP World Tour, if it's not on the PGA Tour. Obviously, they're not giving out releases for live events. He probably would have known this, or would have known that it was at least a possibility. Not new information. Now, would it be great if the PGA Tour could make an exception? Yeah, in a perfect world, yeah, because Wesley's a unique case, right? Like, obviously, he's just as much a creator, and I think he's kind of moving more in that direction than being a PGA Tour player. It would be awesome if the Tour could just say, you know what, Wesley, that's a unique situation, but that's not how rules work. Then you would have Liv inviting
Jason Day
or whoever,
because he has a YouTube channel with the lads.
Yeah, well, they'd invite Jason Day to go play in the next Live Duels, or they would invite whatever, some other big PGA Tour player. So it's just a rule's a rule, and obviously it was not going to be a popular thing because Wesley's very popular and understandably so. It wasn't like he played in an actual Live event, but at a certain point, like, rules are what they are. And again, it would be great if the PGA Tour could make an exception for Wesley Bryan, but then if you make an exception for Wesley Bryan, do you make that same exception for Jason Day? You know, do you make it? Akshay has a YouTube channel. They can invite him to play in live duels. So, you know, I get the PGA Tour is going to look like the bad guy here, and they do look like the bad guy here. But from my perspective, like, kind of a open and shut situation.
Yeah, I don't understand what else they could have done in that situation.
Well, they could have made an exception, but then you can't. But you can't.
No,
because
you can't.
then right.
So you don't know what else I do.
Exactly.
Just
because
follow the rules.
He is a PGA Tour player. It's a different set of rules.
He also knew that probably what the repercussions would be, and like decided that like
and he's appealing, and you know who knows where it ends up. But as far as like, you know, because I saw a lot of people tying those two things together, like Wesley gets suspended, whereas Grant gets an invite. It's a totally separate situation. If it's just a totally separate situation.
I also think
if Grant played in a live event, I don't think he's getting an invite into the PGA. If he played in like a live tournament, once you like break that seal where you're like playing in the actual tournaments, you just put yourself in a different category.
Does a sponsor's exemption though like change that at all? Like he could still get in if a sponsor, right?
No, if you're suspended, you're suspended.
Okay.
Yeah, so like Wesley could not.
Well, he can't be. No, I'm saying Grant can't be suspended for playing in a live event even. Like, because he's not on tour, so he could theoretically.
That's not true. If you play, I think there's a rule that if you play in a live event, you're suspended for a year. Because that's what happened with Laurie Cantor, and then he had to wait a year, and then he got back to the.
So you can suspend somebody that's not on tour, like, from being invited by. That's what I'm interested in. Is like.
Yeah, I don't think because there's a lot of guys who play on live who were not members of the PGA Tour, and I don't think they can just go play in a PGA Tour event.
Right.
But that's a different conversation. The conversation that we're having is like Wesley's in a different category than Grant. It would be awesome if they could make a special rule for Wesley, but it's just not going to happen.
And you think Grant will definitely play?
I think so, and I think he's doing a good job of like saying they're way better than me, set expectations, don't go in there and be like, oh, I think I can do this. You know, I think it's a good situation. It's a no-brainer for the tournament. He's going to bring 20 times the eyeballs.
Yeah.
He's obviously he's a great player.
I think he's a content man, and he knows what he was doing by playing the will I, won't I game.
Yeah, no, I think he'll end up playing, and I'll be excited to watch when he does. Yeah. Speaking of cracking the whip a little bit, the Masters. This came across my desk, so there was some ticket tomfoolery, I guess. According to a report from Front Office Sports, hundreds of ticket holders who attended this year's Masters tournament were pulled aside and questioned by Augusta reps over the origin of their tickets, where they were purchased, etc., with many passes canceled for the week as the tournament cracked down on resellers. So this is my take on this. When you drive down Washington Road, there are like 30 signs that say like tickets.
Yeah.
Like we sell tickets. So I don't really get it's been explained to me before where it's like you can only get the tickets from Augusta National or the lottery, but then you walk outside the gates and there's tickets absolutely everywhere.
I think this is probably to like let the members at Augusta know that they shouldn't be doing stuff with their tickets and less about like ruining civilians' time.
Because there has to be, because I'm sure Augusta doesn't give those tickets to the people who are standing outside on Washington Road. So there's something's happening. I don't know if it's lottery winner, but something's happening.
Or do they? That'd be a great business to just like employ some scalpers on the low to stand out on Washington Road and make a margin.
Yeah, I mean that is the business.
Yeah.
That's what they're doing. But don't do weird stuff with Masters tickets.
Just behave yourself.
Just behave yourselves.
1 week.
Okay, right down the road. This is at El Cab, which is really like just down the street from here. Ingrid Lindblad. So she won the JM Eagle Championship. This is usually played at Wilshire Country Club. They're undergoing another renovation. I remember when I think it was in high school or college when they had a full renovation. Now they're doing it again. So this was at El Cab here in the Valley. She was an incredible amateur. So this is from her Wikipedia page. Spent 53 weeks as a world amateur golf ranking #1. Finished runner-up at the 2022 Augusta National Women's Amateur. Set amateur scoring records at the 2022 U.S. Women's Open. Won the World Amateur Team Championship. Collected 15 college titles at LSU, and in the third start of her LPGA Tour rookie season, she won the 2025 JM Eagle LA Championship. So good stuff there. Over in China, Ashen Wu won the Volva China Open on home soil. It was his 5th win on the DP World Tour. He's 39 years old. Passes Haotong Li for most wins on the DP World Tour by a Chinese player. Haotong, who is the most handsome man in China, if you remember what was stamped on his wedge.
That's right.
He's like 26 or 27, so he's got a lot of time. But Ashen Wu, nice job getting the win over there. Over on the Korn Ferry Tour, we referenced this at the top. Our guy Neal Shipley, I was just down there. We filmed it on the bag with him. I think it's going to come out this week.
Tomorrow, I believe.
I think it's going to come out tomorrow. Look at this putt.
Look at this pump.
He was fired up.
I hate to be on the other side of that fist pump.
He was fired up. Awesome clip. Lecom Suncoast Classic is the one he won. The win brought him up to 3rd in the points. It's obviously still early in the season. Top 20 this year get their PGA Tour card, down from 30 before. Took 5 playoff holes. Awesome stuff. And then Joel Dahmen This was painful. We've had Joel on the show. Joel and I have become pals. He's a knockaround guy, team knockaround, Joel Dahmen. He stayed at my parents' house for the U.S. Open at LACC. Like, Joel and I are friends, and I was rooting for him. He birdied, I think it was 11, and I thought he had it. But he ended up bogeying his last 3 holes to lose by 1. The last 2 were particularly painful. Here was his putt on 17. Viewer discretion advised. It's just breathtakingly short putt. It was, I think it's shorter. I mean, good thing they didn't have shot link there to tell us exactly how short that putt was.
We were looking. I
think Rory's was, I want to say 2 feet 6 inches, the one he missed on 16 at Pinehurst. That looked shorter. Yeah. And then on 18, he hits the fairway, long par 4, hits it just long and right of the green, but it's got a really good lie on the rough. And that's a chip where in a practice round, he's getting it up and down 8 out of 10 times. Just no bueno here. Let's watch it on 18. It was down
the wind, by the way. Look at this.
He went so much higher than I was expecting him to, and then it just was left of the whole way. The sea looked very unhappy.
The sea was angry.
It was like a Moby Dick situation. And then he had this putt for a playoff with the waves crashing. Gave it good pace, at least. It wasn't a feeble effort. But yeah, it's his 3rd top 10 of the year. But winning is still so important. You know, he only went up from 75th in the points to 69th with a tied for 2nd because of the opposite field event.
Opposite field, yeah.
And because he was T2 with like 4 other guys, so we had to split the points. Winning is a 2-year exemption. Winning is, I believe, into all the signature events. It was just would have been really big for him. But he's playing really well. So
the weather felt like more of a factor there than maybe I gave it credit for.
Well, but Garrick Higgo bogeyed 17 and missed like an 8-footer on 18. So it wasn't like, someone grabbed the tournament. And Joel was honest about this afterwards. He said, I'm prone to that on 17, that little putt. He's like, I don't really know what it is, but when I get nervous. I talked to him a bit this morning. He said, it sucks. It still sucks. Winning is... It's easy to be like, oh, he finished tied for 2nd. It's a great week. Winning on the PGA Tour, there's such a difference between winning and finishing tied for 2nd.
Especially once you've done it.
And especially in one of those opposite field events where the money's not like crazy for a tie for 2nd. The points aren't crazy, so disappointing, but he's playing really, really well. But one man's collapse is another man's 2nd PGA Tour win, and that was Garrick Higgo. Won his first tournament at the Palmetto Championship at Congaree. I was there. It was one of those weird COVID weeks. It was like a one-off tournament. He was 21. He had no hair. Now he has an incredible head of hair. I mean, Neal Shipley's got nice hair, but this is another level. And Garrick Higgo, we're going to go to our 2nd interview with a winner on the PGA Tour. Here is me and Mr. Lettuce, Garrick Higgo. All right, we are joined by the winner of the Corrales Puntacana Championship, Garrick Higgo. Garrick, it was quite a roller coaster on the back 9. Walk me through your emotions. Where were you mentally throughout that whole thing?
Yeah, I was just trying to stay in it. I think like everybody else. I knew where I was when I finished 14. There's not many leaderboards out here, so that kind of gave me some fuel. I knew, I think I bogeyed 13. I can't remember, but bogeyed 13. I was playing great, hitting it good, and I was just trying to make 3 or 4. I mean, I know it sounds crazy now, but I was trying to make 3 birdies to try and really give myself a shot. I guess that probably helped. I stayed aggressive, hit some good shots coming in.
Did you feel, I mean, I know you said that you couldn't see many leaderboards out there, but could you feel that Joel was kind of having trouble? And were you able to tell yourself like, all right, maybe just a couple pars coming in here?
No, I honestly, I didn't. I knew he bogeyed 16. Graham told me. Graham DeLette, he was walking with. I didn't know he bogeyed 17. So the shot, looking back, the shot on 18 was obviously really, really great. Looking back now, I absolutely pumped that drive to get it over the. I want to call it a creek, but it's not. Over the gorge. But no, I had no idea. I played with him yesterday. He played solid. It's a pity that he kind of didn't have his best coming in. But I'm obviously happy, and I played great. So
you got your 2-time winner now. Bit of a gap after number 1. You went through some difficult runs of form. What's been the key to kind of the resurgence recently?
Well, I'm healthy. It doesn't help having a wrist that you can't practice with. And I went through pretty much a sex change in my swing with Sean. So, changing a lot of things, being competitive and, just making one change is hard enough. But I literally changed my whole swing and I was injured. So Not the best thing to go through, but it was a lot of growth.
The lettuce, the hair, it's been a huge hit this week. Are we keeping it? I mean, you've won with it now. I feel like they were showing pictures of when you won at Congaree, and you look like a completely different person.
Yeah, it's crazy. I saw some pictures on, when your phone brings up like memories. I saw myself, and I'm like, yeah, that's just not it. That's not me. So I'm going to keep it.
I love it. And the Boston hat, is that here to stay as well?
Might as well, yeah. I don't have any sponsors, so that's why I wear it. I had a Saints hat on yesterday. I was going to wear a Tigers hat today, but this one's good in the wind. So, with the letters, it's already on, maxed out back here,
I love it. Well, I think we're gonna get you some sponsorships. I think you went on the PGA Tour. We might not be able to wear the Boston hat as long as we want. But I wanted to ask you.
Living the life with it.
I wanted to ask you one more question before I let you go here. I saw Eric Van Rooyen stay on the green to congratulate you. What's it like having sort of mentorship from, you came over here at a young age playing on the PGA Tour, having some guys that you can lean on? Yeah,
I think Eric's been great. We play a lot at Bears Club. There's so many guys, Camilo, Alex Noren, even a guy like Rory, who I see a lot out there. He's been great to me. But even guys like Brandon Grace, he was great to me. He still is. We still talk a lot. I miss him a lot. A lot of those guys who went to live, I do miss. But yeah, it is great. Everybody's been great to me. So.
Well, good stuff, man. Congratulations. I'm happy to hear that the hair is here to stay.
Thanks, man.
All right, we're going to jump into Give Me a Winner. We're going to give Rick Gehman his unbelievable flowers. He deserves every flower. He deserves every little petal. Rick, you beauty, man. You are putting food on people's tables. We got a graphic here. Can we show this graphic about how much you're up for the year? I believe we are up to 39 plus 39 units, which is absurd, absolutely absurd. Yeah, there it is. So if we have a $100 bet, we've got $3,955 in winnings. So if you're not following him, again, you're putting kids through college. You're probably, funding someone's addiction out there. How does it feel to have so much, just so much sway in the world?
Oh man, we're on a great run. Obviously, this has been a lot of fun. Yeah, even the ones that you just got to give yourself opportunities, right? It's just like these guys trying to win golf tournaments. That JT one was about as sweaty as it gets, guys. Like that was having to dodge the putt on 18, the getting into a playoff, those guys being 3 shots better than everybody else. Like that was about as sweaty as it gets, as Andrew Novak's bombing it into the trees and having it bounce back out into the fairway. Like just all that stuff.
How about Ryan Gerard too? He made a bit of a mess on 18, and I think he finished like T27, right?
Yeah, he did. So this was right on the number. So that was a sweaty hole. So he hits it into the penalty area on 18, which is very hard to do.
That's impressive.
Yes. And then he takes his drop, hits his third into the native area long of the green, hits it, he chips it to 10 feet. So he has a 10-footer now. So after blowing this top 30, he has a 10-footer to redeem himself. And he pours it in and cashes it. So my heart was in my throat the entire day.
It was a great day for us. We don't sleep here. We move on to the next week. It's a next man up mentality, Rick. You're plus 39 units, but I'm smelling. Yeah. I want to get up to plus 50 units. How do you go about handicapping a team event, and what's the pick this week?
Yeah, this is probably the most difficult event on the PGA Tour to prognosticate. You've got guys from a bunch of different tours. Some have status, some don't. When you get to the bottom of this board, the nature of the event, there's a lot of luck involved, especially in the best ball format. You think like if Rory and Shane each make 9 birdies, don't make them on the same hole, boys, right? Like let's ham and egg this thing a little bit. So this is about as volatile as it gets. All that being said, I look for some complementary skill sets, and I've settled on the top of the board at JT Poston and Keith Mitchell. They're 19-1 this morning, and these are 2 guys that can heat up in a big way. Like JT Poston's putter is back. Keith Mitchell has been the greatest golfer in the world in rounds number 1 and nothing else. Like these 2 can just absolutely go nuts, and that's what I'm looking for. Just a ton of birdies. I don't care if you make bogeys, because in best ball, if you make a bogey, it's probably rare that your partner does as well. So you can kind of be saved by that. So a little bit of aggression, a little bit of great ball striking, and some hot putters. I settled on the team of Poston and Mitchell here.
Poston and Mitchell, I like it. Who's our top 10 pick of the week?
Yeah, so I think there's a little bit of value on some under the radar Euro guys. So Laurie Cantor and Jordan Smith are plus 320, so 3.2 to 1 to finish inside the top 10. These guys are like experienced professionals who know how to golf their ball, who have been around the block. Laurie Cantor, outside of the Masters, has been awesome this year. Jordan Smith plays all over the globe, and he's been a great pro for a long time. This number's too long on two guys who kind of know how to do this. The Euros always play a ton of team events, Dan, right? Like they're always doing something as a team and always playing alternate shot. That comes in handy this week.
And it's also a huge week, like a huge opportunity for these guys, because if you win, you still get, you get status and all that. So I'm with it. Yeah. Those guys are going to be locked in. Liv is back this week. Yeah. It's Chapultepec, isn't it?
It is.
So tell us about that golf course that used to host the WGC Mexico. Tell us about the characteristics and give us your Liv pick of the week.
Yeah, so exactly right. There is a little bit of history here. It's been a couple of years, but we have seen this event on the PGA Tour. So a lot of these Liv golfers have played in WGCs, and the one in particular that I went with here is a top 10 for Carlos Ortiz. That's plus 150. He's played a lot of great golf. He won in Macau just a couple of starts ago. He finished fourth in Liv Miami. He played this event once as a WGC. I think he finished like 18th or 20th. So I think that this is a pretty good setup for him, as he's probably playing some of the better golf that we've seen him play in quite some time.
And at home in Mexico.
Oh, that's an easy one. Yeah, it's a home game.
It's a home game. It's a big show for him. Rick, you are feeding nations. Good stuff, man. We'll have you back. We got to sign this guy up. Right. I say it every week.
Thanks, fellas.
Love you, Rick.
See you soon, buddy.
Yeah, Ben.
All right, we're going to jump into I usually call them way too early Ryder Cup picks. Now I'm just calling them early Ryder Cup picks. At some point, you got to shed the way too early. Oh, we got Will. We're shifting gears. We got Willie Wilcox. He's back. Of course, with these caddies, you can never expect them to be on time. All right, Willie Wilcox, are you joining the show? Do we have you?
Yeah, I think so. Am I doing this right?
You're doing this right. We had a whole plan. What happened?
So I was teeing off at 2:12, and then I saw some friends, and they let me join them earlier. So I'm at Tree Farm right now, and yeah, and I got my new Tree Farm shirt. But yeah, sorry about that. Oh my God, I was such a space cadet, obviously.
You're good. I wouldn't expect anything less. One of my favorite people on tour. I call him the most interesting man in golf. So your boss man, you call him the Prince, Sungjae. He's made $1.278 million over the last 2 weeks. Yeah. Now, I don't like to count someone else's money, but 8% of that is $102,240. Have you officially passed your career earnings as a player, which I checked this morning were $3.378 million?
No, not quite. But man, when it comes to the time amount, I would say like average wise by a mile, because I've gotten close on the bag in just under 2 years. So yeah, it's pretty unbelievable. I just can't believe it. Every day I wake up, I'm like, what is going on? This is so much easier than playing.
You've had some amazingly cool experiences. You've caddied in all 4 majors, I believe, for Sungjae now. Yep. President's Cup. I want to ask you, what's it like caddying at Augusta? Like, is it different from normal weeks?
Oh yeah, way different. Because you gotta make the book. You got to detail the book and make it your own little art project. And because the greens are not very detailed, the heads are obviously in yards. There's no slope in the book. It's very important to do the, like whatever long left of this pin is just dead. Don't go there, that type stuff. And it's amazing. Like the back right pin on Sunday on number 2, I was able to, make sure he stayed short of that pin. Because if you stay short of it, you got a backstop. And, there's just a lot of spots where you can be 40 yards away from the hole and be in such a better spot than if you were 10 feet over the back edge and be within 30 feet of the hole,
So that's interesting. So there's no slope. So usually in a yardage book, like I'm thinking about, the second shot on 11, it would say in a PGA Tour book, it would be like this plays -6. You just got to kind of eyeball it.
Well, I mean, obviously in the practice round, you do a lot of walking and you got to go around, shoot it with the laser, mark it in the book. But what's really cool is like, if you're on the left side of the fairway, on 9 to a front pin at about 160 yards, it could play down 1. If you're 100 yards to a back pin on the right side of the fairway, it'll play up 8 or 9. So, it's just stuff like that you have to be aware of, and you don't want him to have to second guess it. And, I really found reading the wind a lot easier because you just look up, but the wind does swirl in a crazy, crazy way. Oh shit! I just infringed on the bird's territory. You got to be super. Did you hear that? You got to be super aware of that, is to not piss off Sungjae.
Are you walking to a golf ball, or are you just sort of walking?
I took this hole off because I felt so bad.
I appreciate it. Sungjae's English.
17 holes.
Sungjae's English is better than he lets on, but obviously, not fluent. How much talking do you guys do? Do you guys talk about sports or the weather?
No, I mean, he's definitely he'll say sweat towel when it's hot, or he'll just say hot over and over. Or he'll say cold. It's conversationally, personally, there's not much. Although we've been to dinner now 4 or 5 times, I think 5, because he came to the Malvern home dinner at the Masters, and he's just such a sweet kid, deep down, because he doesn't have much social experience. So he'd been there for 2 hours, and I was like, dude, scram, it's Tuesday of Masters week, you're allowed to leave. And he was like, is it okay if I leave? I'm like, yeah, man, you're good.
Yeah, you got a pure one. Most tour pros would be in there for about 12 minutes, and then they would be out of their way.
Yeah. He's good. But yeah, personally, I don't have to be involved in his personal life at all. Whereas I would say a lot of players kind of force their caddies to be their psychiatrist.
I am not surprised that you're playing golf right now. I've never met someone who likes golf. How many times did you play last week during the tournament, RBC Heritage?
3.
Yeah, so 3 rounds of golf while you're. So do you track your steps? You've got to be averaging 25,000 a day.
It depends. I mean, obviously, when I'm playing 100% of the time ride, I will walk over in Scotland because they don't allow boogies. But I would say 15 to 25 would be the average.
I know you said you love this. It's so much easier than playing. You think you're going to be doing this forever, or are you going to make a run at 50 at the senior tour?
I don't know. I think I could do both. I mean, Lance Tenbrook did, and but I'm starting to play good enough to where I think my insane anxiety levels, when I wouldn't affect it as much. If I'm really confident in what I'm doing, the nerves go away a little bit. So I definitely would like to in the next, couple of years, just play something, just to see how my brain and stomach and sleep schedule react.
Well, I think there'd be less pressure because you have a job now.
Right. Yeah, probably. I mean, everything isn't relying on it. And I'm just so lucky to be in the situation that I am. So, yeah, I would love to play again just so all this. I do love the game, but it would be cool to get a little something extra out of it.
All right. Last question. I don't want to keep you from your round of golf. First of all, what are you at? What's your score right now?
I went par. So tough par 3 into the wind, par, a couple of nice shots. Left the putt in the heart short, and then I took this hole off, but I would have birdied, so we'll say I'm 1 under.
Okay, my last question for you. Sungjae's been through quite a few caddies in his career. You've been on the bag for a while now. Why does it work? You guys are kind of an odd pair. Why do you think it works?
I think getting paired with him when he was 19 and his first start in America is huge. I mean, I played with him the week before the Masters and beat him by 6. That certainly doesn't hurt. So I think he respects the shit out of my game and my hustle. And honestly, he just didn't grow up reading these greens, and I did. And, I've got a damn 27-year head start on reading these greens on him. So I read those putts, man. And shit, he's 5 or 6 in putting. So I think it has something to do with just everything combined, and the fact that I'm an ex-tour player. That certainly carries weight.
All right, I lied. Yeah. Ben has a style question for you. Ben's our style guy.
Yeah. So what's up, man? I know you're the wave god, so I had to ask this. You're on the Malbon flow team. What's that been like? And when are we going to get Sungjae into some Malbon? I feel like it's time for him. He'd be great with that brand. Is it happening?
I mean, his thing with wide angle ends in December. He wears Malbon away from the course 100% of the time. But man, it's been awesome. I mean, getting to meet Andrew Santino for the first time last week. J.R. Smith, every time he sees me, is super cool. I mean, Steven and I are kind of like kindred spirits. We've been through the same type of stuff. But yeah, it's been freaking awesome. I just feel so lucky that I met him when I did, which is when he was caddying in the AT&T a few years ago. But yeah, man, what a cool ride. And it's just starting. Man, it's been fucking great.
Yeah, the Futura stuff is pretty sweet.
Keep it up, Willie. Go play well. I'm setting the over-under at 2.5 under. Let me know how it goes. Okay, my friend?
Yeah, certainly will. Sorry I was late. Thank you.
You're good. Talk to you soon.
See ya.
I love that guy.
Classic.
He's just one of the, so when he comes to LA, he stays with me. He spends a lot of time on my porch. And, you know, some people, when they're at your house and they spend a lot of time on your porch, you're like, get off my porch. I like him. I want him there. He just makes me happy.
I'm excited he wants to, like, really get back out there in a couple years. You were talking about the senior tour. He was like, nah,
I think he, you know, everyone knows, or not everyone, but if you don't know Will's story, just Google it. Wild story. But he really struggled. Like, his anxiety was really, really, really bad when he was playing on tour. And I think, you know, the talent was always there. The question was just like, could he keep his head on straight? And I think having this caddy stream of income takes all the pressure off. Yep. So I think it could be really good for him. All right, we're going to move into the 2 early Ryder Cup picks, not way too early. We've got, the first time we did this, we had Luke Kerr Dineen on. The second time we did this, we had James Gregg on. The third time we did this, we're having Luke Kerr Dineen back on. Here's Luke Kerr Dineen, LKD from Golf Digest. What's up, Luke?
What's up, Dan? I appreciate the bake-off that you're having. I got to bring the takes this time, secure my spot for next time.
You got to bring the takes. That's the first rule of business here. You did call Sergio a while ago, and that's been sort of vindicated. So we're gonna get going. I'll start with my first pick. We're gonna do this. The way we do this is I pick one, you pick one. We go through if the Ryder Cup was started tomorrow. I'm happy we're doing this today after like a good American, like a really good American won a tournament, because it had been a little while. You know, before this last week, Scotty hadn't won, Xander hadn't won, you know, Cantlay hadn't won, Schauffele hadn't won, Morikawa hadn't won. JT finally gets us off the board. So I'm gonna start with my first pick, Scotty Scheffler. 3 straight top 10s. You know, hasn't won this. I'm wondering if the Phil curse might be real. Remember, Phil said, "Is Scotty going to win before Bethpage?" I say no. I don't know if Phil put some voodoo on him, but he's third in the FedEx Cup, so even his sort of B game has been plenty good enough. So Scotty would be my first pick, no brainer.
Yeah, first pick for me, Rory McIlroy, obviously. You know, he's achieved his bucket list dream of completing the Grand Slam at Augusta National. Now I think Rory's going to enter the kind of Ryder Cup focus part of his career. I mean, he seems like he's gotten more into team golf over the years, and I think that now he's kind of checked off what he can do on the individual side. I think now we're going to see a kind of upgraded Rory McIlroy in the Ryder Cup. So obviously he's leading the line.
Yeah, he said that one of the things he wants to still do in golf is win an away Ryder Cup. I don't know how many points he has, but you know, I'm sure Sergio's all-time point record is something that's in his head. He's played a lot of these already. All right, my second pick, Bryson DeChambeau. I moved him up to number 2. Guy's a major killer. This is 4 of the last 5 major championships he's had a legitimate chance to win. The only one that he didn't was the Open last year. In Masters, he was in the mix. U.S. Open, he won. PGA Championship, he lost by 1. Obviously, was in the mix. Did not play well on Sunday, but he's found a way, man. He shows up on the big stages now. So Bryson is my number 2.
Yeah, good pick there. Ludwig's my number 2. You know, he's a few years behind Scotty and Rory in the very upper crust of the game right now. But I think in terms of skill set, you can't really find any flaws, certainly in his game, and really any comparison with anybody else behind those two, perhaps. I mean, this guy does everything, and his weak spot is maybe his putting, and he's still a pretty darn good putter. So it's just a matter of time before this guy starts racking up majors, and he's just going to be such an integral part of European Ryder Cup teams going forward. I think he's locked on in the second spot.
No-brainer there. Justin Thomas, another no-brainer. He even before this week, he was playing at a top 5 level, according to Data Golf. He's fully back. And, you know, I think because you and I, Luke, cover this sport every single week, you know, we get very sort of caught up in the minutia. But that stat that I read out to Justin Thomas at the beginning kind of made me zoom out about guys who have won 16 times in multiple majors before age 32. And there's only 7 guys who have done it. So JT's a very, very prolific winner. He's the heart and soul of this team emotionally. Got the pick when he was playing like ass before Rome. He's playing really good now. JT, no-brainer.
Jon Rahm's my third pick. I said this last time, but I just can't get a good read on really any of the live European guys, and especially Jon Rahm. I just don't really know how his game is compared to 2 years ago, compared to a year ago. I mean, obviously he's going to be a stalwart in this Ryder Cup team, but he feels like he hasn't really gotten a rhythm in majors. He had a weird major season last year, so I'd really like to see some signs of life there for the remainder of the majors this season. But he's obviously going to be part of the backbone of this team, and his partner's coming up next.
Part of the backbone for sure. I think he finished tied for 14th at the Masters. He had a decent weekend, but yeah, he was not in the mix basically all week. My fourth pick is Collin Morikawa. Had his first bad week of the year. I think he finished 54th, but Ben and I were talking about this earlier. I love how edgy he is. I love his attitude. He won't give an inch, and I think in match play, that's a really good characteristic, and also just such a solid ball striker, really good for alternate shot, not going to put his teammate in a bad position. Just really, really good at hitting the golf ball straight, which, honesty button, is very important in professional golf. Okay, that was not the best honesty button execution, but we're moving on to your fourth pick.
I appreciated it, though. It's a good one. Tyrrell Hatton is my fourth man on the team. In some ways, him and Rahm kind of solve each other's problems. You pair them together. It's kind of a set it and forget it thing. Also, he's probably the guy who, outside of Bryson, has fared the best in his post-live transition. I mean, he's playing great, right? Played well at the Masters, or won on the European Tour, had another good finish on the European Tour during the winter season. So, yeah, he's, I think he's, again, pretty no-brainer. And again, set it and forget it with Rahm. Pair them 4 times together if you want, and he's going to do great.
These 8, I'm confident in saying, are 100% going to be there. So now we're getting into after the top 4. I think you might have 1 or 2 definitely still going to be there. I think I have 1 or 2 definitely still going to be there. One of those who's definitely still going to be there is Xander Schauffele. So, we talk about Scotty having a little bit of a slow start this year. Xander's had an even slower start. His injury was a little bit more severe, missed more time. But what I'm just so impressed by, he's got 11 straight finishes of top 18 or T18 or better in the majors. That is almost 3 full years of major championships of finishing T18 or better. You know what you're getting. Obviously, 2 majors last year. He plays with Cantlay. He plays with Morikawa. He's part of our backbone. He's part of that Scotty, Xander, JT backbone. So Xander's still a no-brainer.
Yep, Victor Hovland is my next pick. And, finally we've got some optimism from here. He's been so down in the dumps with his own golf swing. He said, I asked him at the Masters about this in his press conference. He said his golf swing was non-functional this time last year, which is ridiculous because non-functional means you can't hit a golf ball. But in his mind, it's non-functional. Now he's ranking it a 7 out of 10, and it was a 4, so it's trending up. It could be, on this rate, it could be 11 by the Ryder Cup rolls around. So yeah, we're buying all the Victor Hovland stock we can.
Another winner. I think he's got 7 wins. And he's 28 or something in that range. So a guy who's when he's up there is no problem closing it out. My next guy, Patrick Cantlay, having a very Patrick Cantlay season. Not hearing much from him, kind of popping up on leaderboards every now and then. Didn't do much in the Masters, but still a top 10 player on Data Golf rankings. And I feel like after Hatgate, he's sneaky, and he was really good in the President's Cup. He's sneaky like a team competitions guy now. He's got a little bit of an edge, no hat pat. So I'm going with Cantlay.
Yeah, Tommy Fleetwood. I would say this is my last kind of
just solid, dude.
He's so good. He's such a good ball strike. He's a friendly guy. I don't think you could find a reason not to pick Tommy Fleetwood. I kind of feel like he's our generation's Ian Poulter kind of stalwart of the team, except he's really friendly guy too. Everyone loves Tommy Fleetwood. He's just A+ in every category when it comes to the Ryder Cup.
Yeah, maybe not on Sundays on the PGA Tour. I think he shot even or 1 under yesterday, but had another chance to kind of semi-win, didn't get it done. But this is not a PGA Tour event. This is the Ryder Cup. I'm going with Russell Henley. Had another really high finish, tie for 8th. Obviously got, that was this week at RBC Heritage, got the biggest win of his career at Bay Hill. I think he shot 79, 68 at the Masters. So the 68 on Friday was really good. Just one kind of really horrible round. But another guy who's really solid, kind of a similar profile I Collin Morikawa, similar type of player. You can put him with anyone, especially on alternate shot. You know what you're getting. The guys really like him. They speak really highly of him. I'm going with Russell Henley.
Yeah, Shane Lowry's my next pick. This time 2 years ago, Shane Lowry coming to the Ryder Cup was really not in that great shape and kind of scraped in at the bottom of the barrel, but I think he's coming in a lot stronger this year. He's a 12th, I believe, in strokes gained approach with his iron play, which is great when you pair it with his short game. Those are going to be the kind of stats that you really look closely at when it comes to Bethpage. Somebody who can get up and down when he does miss greens and doesn't miss too many greens in the first place, which Shane Lowry is doing right now. It's just an already great baseline skill set for a guy who brings kind of the good vibes to.
Yeah, I was gonna say, like, he's the ultimate vibes guy, I think, in that locker room. I think if JT is sort of the emotional leader, obviously Rory is a titan of the game, but I think Shane is big time heart and soul vibes. My next pick, Maverick McNeely. He was on my first team. He wasn't on my second team. He's on my third team. Runner-up at Torrey Pines. That was the Genesis elevated event. Made the cut at the Masters. Tied for third at the RBC. So he's starting to do it in the bigger tournaments. He's a great putter. He's a really, really good putter, which is great for match play. And he said on this show, my goal is not to be at Bethpage. It's to get points at Bethpage. I want to give Maverick the chance. The guy was a prolific winner in college. Took him a little while to get that confidence on the big tour, but he's doing it now.
Yeah, Justin Rose, who I think nobody has gathered more fans post-Masters who hasn't won than Justin Rose. I mean, everybody just loves the guy now. He's a class act. He handled that loss so gracefully. And he wasn't on my team last time. And the reason why is because I just didn't see the record there that was particularly exciting. But since then, he's just completely proven me wrong, right? He did well at Pebble Beach, he did well at Arnold Palmer, and then of course at the Masters. He's an incredible putter. He's clearly at the stage of his career where he is gearing everything towards these big events, the Ryder Cup being one, with the eye of winning one. And I think he's definitely at this point booked himself a place on this team.
I mean, runner-up also in the last two majors, right? He was runner-up at Troon, and he was runner-up, and him and Luke Donald go way back. So I think he's a really good bet to reprise that kind of elder statesman role. I'm going with Daniel Berger, Boog Knight, DB straight vibing. I've said it from the beginning of the year. I think he's going to be on the team. He's got 8 top 25s this year. Just a really solid player. Kind of part of that, him and JT go way back. He's played on Team USA's before. Had some really gnarly injuries with his back, but he's just been really, really solid this year. And I think another guy who can pair with a lot of people. And he's just vibing. He's straight vibing. I think he's going to absolutely love the atmosphere at Bethpage Black. I'm going with Boog Knight.
So Aaron Rai, I'm just hardening around the idea that I'm just an Aaron Rai fan. I just really like him as a person. I like his golf swing. I like the way he plays golf. I mean, he's inside the top 25 strokes gained off the tee, and he's one of the most accurate. He was the most accurate driver on tour last season. Just a really good ball striker. Really, really clean game. And I think that's the kind of guy who is a pleasure to play with an alternate shot. He's a good guy. You can do a lot of different things with a skill set like that. And I just like the guy a lot. So, yeah, Aaron Rai, he's getting in this team for me.
Awesome. I'm going to go with Akshay Bhatia. You need some young blood, right? We can't have all 28-year-olds and above on this team. I want Akshay there. I love the way he shapes it. I'm a little concerned about the putter. The long putter just makes me nervous because I'm just not a long putter guy in general. But I love his moxie. I think he's a guy who I think will be on plenty of these teams moving forward. And you gotta draw that first blood at some point. So I'm going with Akshay.
So Sepp Straka is my next pick. Love the guy's golf swing. Also, #1 ranked iron player on tour right now. Strokes gained approach. I think he's one of those who maybe is on a trajectory of he started his season really strong. I hope it doesn't run out of steam. I hope he kind of keeps this season-long peak going, or at least sort of maintains it. But listen, there's nothing to quibble with in this guy's game. He's got Ryder Cup experience. He's a #1, like I said, #1 ranked iron player on tour right now. So I think that's a really there's some huge positives when you get down later in your lineup.
Yeah, another guy who I think played really bad at first round at the Masters and then kind of bounced back. But yeah, I mean, your guys' team is just like really, really solid. Every name that he brings, I'm like, yeah, that's a good pick. Yeah, that's a good pick. All right, we got 2 more left. I'm going with Denny McCarthy. I want this guy on the team really badly. I think, you mentioned Ian Poulter. I think this is a guy who could sort of play that role where it's like he doesn't necessarily hit it the best, but he finds a way to get on the green. And I think he's Mr. Mongolian reversal in match play. I think he's going to make a bunch of putts. Putters are hugely frustrating to play against. I still have nightmares of Medina when we couldn't close it out because we had all those old guys who couldn't putt, Steve Stricker, Jim Furyk, and they missed a bunch of 4-footers. That's not happening with Denny McCarthy. I want him out there. Denny is my 11th and second to last pick.
So my second to last pick is Rasmus Højgaard. I did pick him last time. To be honest, he's kind of defaulting his way into this team. I mean, I really think you got to show a little bit more than what we're currently seeing from this part of the lineup. Like, if you want to earn a pick over some experienced guys and you're a rookie, you really got to be like racking up some good finishes, especially closer to the Ryder Cup. We're just not really seeing that much from guys like Fitzpatrick or whoever may be in this conversation. So Rasmus kind of defaulting his way in. But I don't think this is like safe, steady form that locks you up one of those captain's picks. I think we're still waiting an upgrade from Rasmus, but we've seen enough there for in this current moment that he is probably nabbing one of these two.
Yeah, those top 10 are really solid there. I was expecting you to say Bobby Mack. Maybe that'll be your last pick. I'm not sure. My last pick might surprise some people. Patrick Reed.
Ooh.
You like that? Back. Like a phoenix, like an American phoenix. Third place at the Masters. I don't need to say more about his history in the Ryder Cup. A little bit of villain energy, you know, in New York. Maybe not the worst thing that's ever happened. You know, it's kind of like he's our guy, right? You know, the New York crowd, if this was a normal tournament, they might be tough on him, but he's our guy now. You know what I mean? You want to deputize him. His short game is unbelievable. You want to talk about short game? And yeah, I mean, I just think, again, this might be a little bit of a prisoner of the moment off of his strong Masters, but if I see that name, and again, there's no one here that's really like taking that spot with two hands, you know, like Tony Finau is not really playing well. Brooks Koepka missed the cut at the Masters. Wyndham Clark not really doing it for me that much. So I would pick P. Reed if this was tomorrow, but again, this is very much subject to change.
Then you bring up a good point there, that because it's in America and in New York specifically, you won't necessarily see guys turn on Patrick.
Oh, no, he's our guy, dude.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, you predict my final pick, Bobby Mack. He's rounding out the team. 7th on tour in strokes gained off the tee. Again, you'd really love to see. I'm looking for more of a form player from this part of the lineup ordinarily, but this is kind of as good as Europe got right now. I think the majors are going to be ultimately deciding these two spots, but right now, Bobby Mack, with his experience he had, he was nervous at the last Ryder Cup, got through it, and his game has seemed to have sort of been upticking since then, so he's kind of rounding out my 12.
I can't wait to see what the world thinks of these picks. Their team is freaking really solid.
It's insane.
It's like scary. Like Bobby Mack is really good. He was twice their 12th pick on their team, so I'm a little concerned, but still plenty of time to go. Luke, we'll do this again, my friend. Thank you so much for joining us.
Good seeing you, Dan. Anytime.
Yeah, good stuff, man. All right, Sugarloaf Social Club. They're on fire recently. Is this navy?
It's a grayish blue. It's blue. It's not quite navy.
Okay, well, I thought it was navy. I'm colorblind, obviously, but their newest collection. This is part of that newest collection. Comes out tonight at 8 p.m. and it's a special one. Elevated tournament basics. It's got everything you need to gear up for golf season. T-zips, hoodies, hats, and solid polos, which people have been clamoring for. New colors in the polos.
Yes, sir.
It's like Christmas morning. I've seen a sneak peek of some future drops too, so make sure you subscribe to their email list, follow their Instagram. Ian, who runs it, he's a legend on there. And join their broadcast channel to never miss out. I know I'll be refreshing the website right at 8 p.m. to see the new drop. Everything they make is just cool, fun, and quality. They've got you covered head to toe, like literally. They sell hats and socks. I've been wearing the socks. I wore the socks from a member guest this week. Ben's wearing them right now. And they're more than an apparel brand. They've got head covers, towels, tees, and anything else you could think of. Make sure to check out their grips too. I've got their grips on my irons. Got some compliments on those this week. Sugarloaf Social Club almost never discounts their stuff. Honestly, guys, they almost never do. And some of the stuff, yeah, is probably sold out, but they are letting us give 10% off your first order made this week. Just use the code DanOnGolf at checkout. Exclusions apply. SugarloafSocialClub.com. Check them out. Use code DanOnGolf at checkout. Exclusions apply. All right, we're going to bring on one of my good pals, Gabby Herzig. Gabby is doing amazing work at The Athletic, also the New York Times. I feel like I've been seeing... Let's bring her on. Gabby, I've been seeing your name a lot, like in the... What do they call it? The old lady?
The gray lady.
Is it the gray lady or the old lady? Gabby, you're on mute. Mute. You're on mute, or I can't hear her. One of the two.
I can't hear.
Oh, that's not good.
There you are.
Oh,
I hear you now.
Can you hear me?
I can hear you now. So there's this like little mute button on the bottom. Yeah. Anyways, is it the great lady or the old lady?
Gray.
I don't know. Like.
You know what I'm talking about? That's what they call the physical New York Times.
Yes, but I don't know which one it is either.
Okay, well, Ben says it's the gray lady.
It's gray.
It's the gray lady. Anyways,
Okay.
You're doing great work. That's not why we're having you on the show. I love your work.
Yeah.
Don't get me wrong. We're having you on the show because you played Augusta National. So there's a media lottery that anyone with a press pass can apply to, and you won it this year. How did you find out, first of all?
Yes, funny story. Our friend here shoots me a text. So as the tradition goes, they at around 3 p.m. on Friday afternoon at the Masters, the Masters front desks puts this screen up in the lobby that shows everyone's names who won the lottery, and everyone rushes downstairs to look and see if they made it. And I was like, I don't want to go down there. Like, I'm just going to sit here and wait until someone gives me good news. And I see a text pop up on my phone from Mr. Dan Rappaport, and all it reads is just 3 exclamation points. And I immediately just drop my phone and run downstairs. And I had to see my name for myself, obviously. But that was how I first found out.
So I noticed you didn't say anything. You kept the secret, which is was that a business? You didn't say I'm playing Augusta National until I think, was it after you played? Why was you just like, you didn't want to wake up from the dream?
Yeah, no, I think actually it was more like I didn't want to have to answer everyone's questions about like how I was going to play the golf course if I had my clubs with me, have all the weight of everyone else's expectations on me, because I already had all my own. So I didn't want to make it worse for myself in that way. But I also thought it would be a nice surprise for the readers that, on Monday night, see that question answer box that we posted on The Athletic, like, what questions do you have for Gabby about playing Augusta National? And it was a nice little postmasters bonus content.
You got to be curious what you like the sartorial choices, don't you?
Oh, yeah. What did you wear, Gab?
Oh, yeah. So I wore, honestly, I didn't pack that many like actual golf outfits. So, you have your Masters.
Yeah, you have your photo shoot outfits. I didn't know if I was going to bring this up. It's basically just.
Yeah, you got to bring some fits.
It's a photo shoot. It's a great tournament.
What are you wearing by the paper?
It's also a photo shoot. I'm just saying.
If you're putting that much effort into looking good at the Masters, I strongly believe you have every right to pose for a photo and share it with the world. So
fair enough.
That's my take on that. But for Augusta, I went pretty simple. I did navy pants, just a white polo that I actually had gotten earlier the week prior to the Masters when I played Palmetto, which they have a great little logo. It's like the little palm tree, super subtle. I love that logo. And then I had I think a navy blue pullover as well from Sunday Red, which was the full fit. And I had a Masters hat on from last year that had the little seersucker blue and white print on it, which I thought was a nice little fun touch. But definitely a basic golf outfit that I felt confident and comfortable in, which was definitely the goal.
Okay, look at you next to your playing partners too. Like, that's how you stand out, right? Look at all 3 of those guys.
Yeah, she's got a better outfit on than them. Okay, in between finding out that you had won the lottery and playing, did you hit balls? Did you practice?
Yes. So I went to the range on Saturday morning and Sunday morning. On Saturday morning, funny story. So on Friday, after I found out, sent a couple texts to the people that needed to know. One of those people was Parker McLaughlin.
Short game chef, our boy.
Yep. And he very graciously responded to me. I wrote something along the lines of, Parker, I won the media lottery. I'm playing Augusta National on Monday. I need to learn how to chip in the next 48 hours. So he very graciously was willing to give me an emergency FaceTime lesson on the range on Saturday morning.
Worth probably couple $1,000 there. That's big time.
I don't even want to know. It was very nice of him to do. And coincidentally, our good friend Paolo, who writes for ESPN, was there at the range as well. And he stood there with me and held the phone while I chipped for Parker on FaceTime for 30 minutes. And he fixed me in 30 seconds. It was unbelievable. I was very bottom heavy. I was chunking and thinning it. And that was my one fear about playing Augusta, was those tight lies and having to, maybe flop it over a bunker or something like that. And I hit some great short game shots on Monday that I was really proud of.
We're gonna get to the round in a second here. Morning of, tell me what was your tee time? What time did you pull up? You get to drive down Magnolia Lane. What were the instructions they gave you about how to actually do this logistically?
Yes. So very specific instructions.
Yeah. Surprise.
My tee time was 11:45 a.m. You get this card. Yep, there it is, where you cannot arrive on the property even 30 seconds prior to your arrival time. So you have to time it up perfectly. And I had heard stories of people showing up 2 minutes before that time and being turned away at the door. So I really didn't want that to happen to me. And so in the morning, what did I do? I did a couple errands. I needed to get sunscreen from CVS or something. And I made sure all the.
So you didn't get to use the club facilities?
No, you do.
Oh, you do? There's no sunscreen in the locker room of Augusta National?
Well, I just want to be prepared, Daniel.
Okay, fair enough.
So long story short, I parked in the parking lot across the street from Magnolia Lane, which is a Christian bookstore, and it's this massive parking lot.
Yeah.
Yep. And so I waited there for like 15 minutes in my car, like literally just twiddling my thumbs. And actually so funny, when I was sitting there, I saw Scotty Scheffler's dad run across Washington Road, and it looked like he went and met someone at the gate who handed him a TrackMan. So I guess Scotty forgot his TrackMan at Augusta.
Breaking news. We just broke some news here on the show. Scotty Scheffler left a TrackMan at Augusta, and it was returned to him via his father.
And it turned out that the guy who actually gave Scotty's dad the TrackMan was my caddy, Steve Kling, who's like Scotty's guy.
It's all happening.
Yeah, it's all happening. So where was I? Oh, so then you get on property and you do get to use all the club's facilities. So you get to go in the champions locker room. You get to go in the member pro shop. You can walk around the clubhouse, which we are able to do as media members, but it's a really cool experience just getting to see like where they host the champions dinner and walking up that winding
We're allowed to go in there?
We're not allowed to go in the champions locker room, but we're allowed to go in the clubhouse, yeah.
Things you
can
learn.
eat breakfast up on the porch.
Yeah, no, that was my 8th one. I'd never done that before. Yeah.
We got to go back.
Yeah, I got to go back now.
We got to schedule a morning breakfast on the patio overlooking the green umbrellas. It's amazing. Great omelets.
Wow. Okay, so you get in there, which is fun. You get to use the tournament range or the member range?
Tournament range. So my first stop was the pro shop, so I got that out of the way. I was like, I need to get in there as soon as I step foot on this.
You did some damage?
I did some major damage, yes.
Good. Well done.
They had some really, really good stuff. Lots of ANGC logos and really good women's selection too, which I was very impressed by. They have like Tory Burch, I think. It makes a lot of the women's stuff. So it was very like designer logo-y.
Yeah.
And then went to the tournament range and I set up right in the middle, probably right where like Rory and Bryson were right next to each other on Sunday morning. And I was already like, oh my God, like what is happening right now?
How'd you play? How was your golf?
Okay, so context is I've played 3 rounds of golf this calendar year.
Yeah, sure.
Have to put that out there. Haven't been playing much golf. Excuse number 1, it's Augusta National. You're freaking out. Excuse number 2, but I actually played like relatively solid for those circumstances. I shot 85 with a quad on the second hole.
You're a good player. You're probably what, like a 2 handicap or like a...
I am like a 1 or 2 handicap right now. And but I shoot like I play from 6,100 yards, 6,200 yards, and I'll shoot like mid to high 70s or like low 80s when I'm off. So that score wasn't like totally out of the ordinary for me.
Yeah.
And that quad on number 2 just like totally ruined.
How did you do that? It's not you hit it in the left trees?
Yeah. So, I made like the best part of my life on number 1. And then on 2, we kind of had to wait on the tee a little bit. And I think like everything just hit me right then.
Yeah.
And I was doing that thing where you like tee up your ball and you're like waiting and taking a million practice swings for no reason, just like getting in your own head. So I snap hooked it into the trees on the left, which there's a hazard over there, which I didn't even know. There's a creek in those trees.
Yeah, it's pretty far left.
I had to drop. Yeah, I had to drop, and then I was in a terrible spot to punch out, and then my punch out went back in the hazard. So that's how that happened.
But you played with some integrity. You said you were telling me you played like ball and hole, right?
Yes, I really wanted to put everything out and just see what I could shoot there. And so didn't let the 9 ruin the vibe. I was kind of just like laughing it off at that point because I was thinking to myself, like, when I go home and tell my little brother about this, like I'm going to get so much crap from him. And
I think that's the move. If there's one round to like really grind it out, it's Augusta National the Monday after the match. You made 2 birdies. Tell me about the birdies.
Yes, those are huge. I mean, my one goal going into today was I just wanted a birdie.
Yeah.
Like that was my thing that I just was holding on to. And so 13, I was so excited to hit that tee shot because it slings around to the left, and you've played with me, Dan. I hit this like massive draw involuntarily, and that one I could really just let it rip. And so I hit a perfect drive for that shot shape, and it just caught the speed slot and took off. And then I had a 7-iron into the green, which was sweet. And then I just completely chunked the 7-iron because you have that ball above the feet lie.
Yeah, it's a tough shot.
And it's just so intimidating. And I thought for sure that I was in Rays Creek and would have to drop. But we get up there and my ball is sitting like on the water bank, like in the sand. And I just went down there and hit it and kind of clipped it off the wet sand. And it spun a little bit, held the green. I had like a 30-footer, 25-footer down the hill and made it for birdie.
Sick.
And it was like probably one of the best birdies I've ever made.
That's lit. And then you had one more,
and
too.
And then 16.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then 16 was sweet because it's that back right pin location, which is not the traditional one. It was there to honor Jack's victory in 1975, I believe.
Yeah.
And I just kind of went right at it. It was probably my best iron swing of the day. I think I hit 8-iron. or maybe 9-iron. And I thought I made it for a second. It was like kind of drawing towards the pin. And I was like, oh my God, this would be the coolest place to have your first hole in one.
That would be wild.
And it ended up being like 7 or 8 feet short of the pin. And I made the putt, and that's also how I closed out my match against Drew Powell of Golf Digest. So that was sweet as well.
Wait, so you played the member tees? They don't have ladies tees?
Yes, everyone plays the same tees. It's 6,365 yards, which is a little bit long for me. So there were a few holes where I was like hitting a 5-iron or hybrid in to greens. Like I remember on 10, I had like 210 yards in, which is a long ways for me on a par 4.
Yeah, that's a tough shot.
But it was honestly like a great setup for me because it was challenging enough to be fun, but not like ridiculously hard where I was struggling to reach greens and stuff. Like it was the ANWA setup, which is cool because a lot of those girls, like I hit it, maybe close to what some of them did off the tee.
Yeah, that's cool. Yeah. What was your takeaway? Like, what was you've seen the course? I don't know what number Masters is for you, but you've obviously walked the course a bunch of times.
Only 2.
Okay, so you've seen the course a bunch. What was different about playing it?
I mean, it kind of felt like a ghost town. Like it was kind of an eerie feeling being there without the patrons, and especially after what had happened on Sunday night with Rory, and like they had the leaderboard up still, and it was just. Like, I was kind of having deja vu throughout the entire round because I had watched his final round and obviously, like, went through all the emotions with him, which was so cool. My takeaway is that, like, and everyone talks about this, but I feel like you don't really understand it until you're actually there, is the undulations in the fairways specifically. Like, you literally never have a flat lie.
Yeah.
And as someone who hasn't played that much golf recently, like, I did not know how to adjust for some of those shots. Mm-hmm. And I was just screwed from the second I walked up to my ball and saw it. Like, even on 8, I had like a 60 or 50 yard wedge shot in, but it landed right on top of this like little mound, and I just didn't know how to hit the wedge shot and like sculled it over the green. Yeah,
no, I think it's one of the reasons why you see guys play well there every year. It's like, it's just different. It's its own beast. That's awesome, Gabby. I'm really happy for you.
Thank you.
85 is a solid score. There's nothing to be ashamed of there. Absolutely. All right, we'll do this again. Yeah. Thanks, thanks, Gabby.
Thank you.
Good stuff. All right, our dog of the week. I wanted it to be Joel Dahmen. That was my initial little peek behind the curtain here. It's a play on Dan on Golf. Welcome to the show. But I don't think Joel would have accepted the dog of the week after bogey in the last 3 to lose by 1. So we went down 1 tour to Neal Shipley. Love this guy. Absolutely love this guy. He's got just a totally different personality than you're used to seeing from most professional golfers. We posted a rapid fire interview with him earlier this week. People loved it. We're going to post some more Neal Shipley content. And here's even more Neal Shipley content. Here is our interview. He was in the airport, I believe. We're joined by Neal Shipley, the latest winner on the Korn Ferry Tour. Where are you?
I am currently in the Palm Beach International Airport. Heading to Dallas today and getting back to work tomorrow.
What's in Dallas next week?
We got the Vertex Bank Classic or something like, I don't know the full proper name of the tournament. It's just a Korn Ferry event at Texas Rangers in Dallas. So.
I think this is, I remember this tournament from last year. I think this is where the little kid Miles Russell made the cut. Anyways, you won yesterday. Congratulations. We were talking all week because I was playing in a member guest this weekend, and I sent you a text on Friday, and I said, I'll go win if you do. You held up your end of the bargain, and we finished in the middle of the pack.
I'm honest. I'm disappointed in you, Dan. I had high hopes from you guys.
So coming into last week, because I posted, you're 3rd in the points now, which is amazing. That's great. You've had 3 high finishes. You missed a cut in 5 tournaments. Explain that to me.
I think that, to start the year off in the Bahamas, my game really wasn't in a good spot, just kind of coming out of chaotic winter, moving, and, maybe not being focused on golf as much as I should have been. And I felt like once I hit
What do you mean? You're saying you were moving, like, where you live?
Yeah, I moved from Pittsburgh to Palm Beach in like the beginning of December, had Q school, I was traveling a bunch for family and Christmas, and I think that those Bahamas events really snuck up on me, and I wasn't quite sharp for those events. And I think that golf course in Panama though was like an awesome golf course for us. It suited my game super well. Started getting my feet under me on the Korn Ferry Tour, and I had a great week there. And then I was tired, and to be honest, I was just really tired when we got to Bogota and 8,000 feet, played that crap there. And, a lot of it, too, I think comes down to just my putting was really not very good and sharp, and short game wasn't sharp. And, we've been working a lot on that recently, and it really showed this week. We made a lot of putts we needed to and got up and down a lot. So it was fun to see that work pay off.
So you were a little bit back going into Sunday. You played a really good round on Sunday. And I feel like usually on the Korn Ferry Tour, maybe it's like Thursday, Friday, Saturday. You post a number and then you get passed. But it kind of held up. Were you surprised, or is it kind of like when they get twitchy bum time, you think that maybe the scores aren't going to be as low as they are otherwise?
Yeah, I think, for sure that golf course, the last 4 holes are kind of tough. You don't see a lot of birdies on those last 4 holes. So once guys got through like 14 and were not really passing me up, I thought we had a chance. And Lee there, he fell back on 16, dropped a shot, and yeah, I think that's when you get under the gun, you have that type of pressure. I think a lot of guys will drop back, especially on tougher golf courses. But I think I'm fortunate that this week we had a lot of wind on Sunday, which really helped me out. We have calm conditions. I got to go out there and shoot probably 9 or 10 to have a chance. But the wind really helped us out. And when we were able to post a low number, I think, that put a lot of pressure on the guys behind us. And that's what I was telling my caddy all day. It's like, we're not in a pressure situation. We're putting pressure on the other guys. We're the ones applying pressure.
Speaking of pressure, I mean, Netflix came out earlier this year. You're definitely the only Korn Ferry player who was featured. Do you feel a little bit of like, okay, I've got all this media attention. It's time to deliver on the golf course?
I mean, yeah, definitely a little bit. I don't want to be that guy who's just a Netflix guy and doesn't really do much on the golf course. I want to be somebody who wins tournaments and wins majors and is one of the best to ever do it. So, I'm glad that I got a nice win under my belt and that I'll be on the way soon here.
Tell me about the playoff. 5 holes. That's a really, really long playoff. I think, something like 90% of playoffs are like done within the first 2. You had a couple good looks. Were you like mentally tired? Were you physical? Or was the adrenaline just going like crazy? Like, just kind of walk me through 5 playoff holes.
Yeah. Well, the first playoff hole, there's definitely a lot of adrenaline. I mean, that's crazy. When you play for those moments and you practice for those moments, so it's awesome to put yourself in that position. Yeah, and then, we had played the hole an hour and a half before, so we kind of played it exactly the same as we did before. I thought we just kept hitting it just long at the green and just putting from the fringe. And I had we both made bogey at the first hole actually, which was kind of a gift for me. And then I think the second playoff hole is really boring, 2 pars. The third playoff hole, I had the 15-footer to save par, and I canned it to extend the match. Fourth playoff hole is a lot of boring pars, and then made a 35, 40-footer on the 5th hole, and that's what it was going to take because it was a hard pin to get to, and it was no one was going to be hitting it close there.
You said we filmed a video. I think it's coming out this week, and you said you don't win a lot in this sport. I think your last win in any was a little while ago. How did it feel last night? And you're at the airport now. Did you celebrate at all? I mean, I know you're on like the Atkins diet now, but did you allow yourself to sneak some beers in there?
Yeah, we had a couple of like seltzers in there, and we had a little cheat meal. We went to Five Guys, and I got a real burger and a shake and just a massive amount of fries. I think it was between me, my girlfriend, my caddy, and my swing coach. We spent like $80 at Five Guys, which is
that's impressive. Yeah,
it was a really, really good haul. So that was fun. But at the end of the day, it's a great win. I'm super happy about it. But I'm looking to win 1 or 2 more times this year and lock up a card. That's the goal. And we're just we've got one of 3 done. We got to get 2 more.
Yeah, I mean, so the Battlefield promotion. That's what we're after.
Absolutely, yeah. That comes with a lot of perks, and I'd definitely like to grab that. And they give out a trophy every week, so why not us?
Amazing stuff, dude. I don't want to keep you much longer. You probably got a flight to make. Congratulations. I can say I'm proud of you. I'm getting older now. You're significantly younger than I am, so I can say that I'm proud of you. I think you're you low am at the Masters and the U.S. Open. I don't think anyone had doubts, but I'd imagine it feels really good, especially it's still early in the season to be up there in the points. Got to feel good right now.
Yeah, no, it feels great to get up early, and it's I think I always had a saying when I was in school, like if you get behind early, it's you have more time to make it up. But I didn't really want to have that stress coming down the end of the wire this season, so glad to get out of the way early.
Just get one more this week, and we'll be good. See you on the big tour soon.
Yeah, yes, sir.
All right, good stuff. Thanks so much, Neal.
All right, yeah, take care, Dan.
Cheers. 2 winners with long hair on the show today. you know, golf is changing.
Two good guys, too.
Two really good guys. Yeah,
guys you can root for.
Guys you can root for. All right, we're going to move on to Chirps from the Gallery. I love the internet. Even when they roast me, this is a very Dan roast heavy Chirps from the Gallery. But we're going to start with tiers, and I wanted to ask you about this. So we have this about Rory McIlroy. Can we put this on the screen? Because I need to read it. Yeah, there you go. I feel as a millennial, this was therapeutic. This is about Rory's win, obviously. We had our Tiger glory years unexpectedly cut short after assuming he would smash every record in the book. Rory to the baton. And we all assumed someone always just dominated golf, as it's all we knew with Tiger, and it's now Rory's turn, that 11-year buildup. I have never felt more relief from sports in my life. So happy for Rory and for us as sports fans. Haha, a little closure in a way. Did you feel this way?
I didn't feel like the mass like closure everybody was feeling. I don't know if it's because like I expected it to happen eventually, or like maybe it wore off.
Did you cry?
I did, yeah. I cried.
See, I didn't cry.
I cry every Masters, whoever wins, because like somebody is achieving that thing, and you see it in all like the Nike commercials and like the fan stuff afterward. Like he's been thinking about that specific moment since he's a kid. Like as an empath, you can really feel that moment. When I got over it though, I started to get a little cynical because the internet went a little too crazy with their like, it's for me too.
Yeah.
You know, no, it's not.
No, it's not. Rory won it. It's for him.
Yeah.
But you know, I get it. It was one of those things that you just never. I didn't really think it was going to happen. I just thought there was a lot of scar tissue there, and I thought he would win another major, but I didn't think he would ever win the Masters to complete the career slam.
I always thought he would get it eventually, just because that's a course that you can play well into your older years and play well at, and he typically has played shot good rounds of golf there.
Really
so I thought it was going to happen.
Yeah, and then one more thing before we just roast me. I got a new putter. I got a lab putter. It's coming for everyone. If you're holding out right now, you can keep holding out if you want, but it's coming for you. I truly believe that everyone's going to be using like a zero torque putter very soon. But some people said, is this a broomstick? Is this a broomstick edition? Absolutely not. It's not a broomstick. I'd rather drink bleach.
Why? I never.
Than use a broomstick. There's some honor left in this world. And again, I don't blame the guys who use the broomstick. You got to do what you got to do if you're a professional golfer. But I'm not a broomstick guy. There's some level of like, I have really sweaty hands also. I'd probably be a better golfer if I wore 2 gloves. I'm not doing that.
Tommy 2 gloves.
There's just like a line that you don't cross. And for me, I'm not showing up with a broomstick. So big on the lab, not so much on the broomstick. Okay, moving on to the meat and potatoes of the Chirps from the Gallery. So I did a shoot with Jake and App, and I knew this outfit was going to trigger people. I don't have to do much to trigger people. So I wore this tan Rappaport outfit. That's what Grant Horvat was calling me. Tan Rappaport. It was a beige on beige. I want your, first of all, yeah, and also I want to get out in front of this on the angle. I've actually lost weight.
Yeah.
This guy says enjoyed the banana cheese, though it's a baggier shirt and the wind it's a bad angle. And I showed it to Jake as soon as I was done with the photo. He goes, "Oh man, it's one of those." He said you could edit it. I go, "That's a can of worms that I don't really want to open."
Oh no.
If I start editing my photos, that's a really, that's just a can of worms that I don't want to open. What do you think of the tan on tan?
I like the tan on tan. I would say, like, as your friend, like, you're abusing it a little bit. You're going a little hard. You could make it more special here and there, but I really like it. We used to, back at Esquire, call it, like, the toasted coconut fit.
Yeah.
Went, like, all off-white. I think it's also the season to do that. So, don't hate on him.
Also, no, it's okay. I like it. Toasted coconut is a good one. Other people were calling it the dictator fit. Or this one, did you come straight from the operating room, Dr. Dan? I'll take it.
It's a little Dan Jong-un.
Yeah, so let's roll the next one. I think we dressed like Kim Jong-un.
Oh, there you go.
I thought it was more of a Kim Jong-il. I thought it was more of his father's color palette.
Okay.
But Kim Jong-un obviously carrying the mantle. Fidel Castro.
A little Castro.
Another one that I got, which
I think I said Saddam Hussein yesterday.
Nurse. So we got nurse and we got doctor. Those were sort of the two ones that I got. Sorry, nurse, doctor, and communist dictator.
More like a military nurse, if any nurse. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah,
you're
saving lives
in the
trenches.
Yeah,
absolutely. Like a little Full Metal Jacket action.
No, I think you continue to go monochrome. I think you continue to lean into the tan a little bit. I think when it hits fall and you're able to layer a little bit, that'll help out. But I'm here for Tan Rappaport. You might see me joining you soon.
Let's do it. Let's be the tan. Should we wear all tan next week?
Yeah, let's do it.
We're going to wear all tan next week on this show. We're going to trigger some people. All right, our last one. We're going to finish with a logo conversation. Oh, whoever dresses you should be fired. This is one of my favorite ones. Yeah, like I appreciate that people think I have someone who dresses me.
You kind of do, I guess, on like the color front.
Well, that's actually, yeah, I do FaceTime you or my wife because I'm so colorblind. But that's why I like the monochromatic is because they match and I don't have to worry about the colors.
Yeah.
I don't have to worry about the colors matching if they're literally the same color. Let's finish with a logo conversation. So I saw this. I'm all for Pro Shop hauls, and I absolutely love this account. But for the love of God, don't get a bag from a club you're not a member of, especially a club like Seminole. And if you must get a bag from a non-membered club, at least have the logo match the bag. #shrink. I don't like the #shrink, but I do agree. I played in a tournament this weekend, and the logo flexing is just, it's something that we have to chill a little bit on.
It is getting crazy.
It's getting really, really crazy. Chad and Wells discussed this on Vanity Index. I feel like logos from, like, if you have like a ball marker, if you have maybe like a hat, totally fine. You want to show off you played it great. There are certain items that I think, like a golf bag, if you're not a member there, you probably shouldn't be getting a logo.
That gives the wrong It's like actually misleading if you have the golf bag.
Yeah, like if you have a ball marker, it's like, oh yeah, I played there, it was great, I got this ball marker. If like you spent like $800 on a golf bag or whatever it is, because that thing's not cheap, I think you should probably have some connection to the club.
90% of the merch that I've gotten from like Riv and places that I've actually played, Pinehurst, like I don't wear it that much. I just want to have it.
It's a
memento. I just want to have it forever. You know what I mean? It's people are getting out of control with needing to like multi-logo flex. I was happy to hear Gabby only wore like one Masters logo for her round. I thought that was a flex.
Very demure.
And also another club's logo.
Yeah.
Big flex.
Gabby. Very demure.
But Seminole is like, that's the one you definitely don't do.
Yeah, it's like Seminole, like Pine Valley, like Chicago Golf Club. Like you just.
I would buy a Bethpage Black bag.
Well, that's everybody's club.
Right? It's everybody's club.
It's everybody's club. That doesn't send the message that it's my club when it's really not.
Yeah.
So I agree with that. But that is a cool logo. Maybe a hat. A hat would have been a little bit more tasteful. All right, we're going to leave you with our clip of the week. Animation and AI just make everything look a lot cooler. I thought we were going to do a lot of Rory stuff, but it's amazing how fast the world moves, so we didn't really talk much about Rory on this show. But we're going to finish with our clip of the week. It's an animation version of Rory's second shot into 15. What a fantastic show. We love all you guys, Golf Sickos. Like and subscribe. We'll see you back next week. Enjoy our clip of the week.